Okay, this video is a continuation of Skill 18. We're on the back side, and we're just going to continue on where we left off yesterday. We did the odds, so we're going to do numbers 13, numbers 15, and then we'll skip ahead to the word problems. So number 13 is 5 divided by 3 1/4. And this one looks a little different than some of the previous problems because we have a whole number. So we just have to remember what the first step is. The first step is we need to convert everything to an improper fraction. 5 as an improper fraction is simply 5 over 1. And then 3 1/4 is 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13. It's 13/4. So the first step is to rewrite as improper fractions. The second step is to multiply by the reciprocal of the second term. So I rewrite 13 over 4 as 4 over 13. Now I check diagonally for things that simplify, and there are no common factors. So now I multiply straight across. 5 times 4 is 20. 1 times 13 is 13. 20/13 is an improper fraction that I need to rewrite as a mixed number. 20 divided by 13 is 1 whole with 7 remaining, and the denominator stays 13. The correct answer to number 13 is 1 7/13. Alright, the next one we'll check out is number 15, which is 4 2/7 divided by 1 1/6. Same steps as before. Rewrite the mixed numbers as improper fractions. 4 times 7 is 28 plus 2 is 30. So it's 37ths divided by 1 times 6 is 6 plus 1 is 7, 7/6. Now this is one where kids are going to be really tempted to want to simplify. Diagonally the 7s would simplify and the 30 and the 6 would simplify. But let's think back to the steps. The first step is to rewrite as improper fractions. The second step is to multiply by the reciprocal. And watch what happens when we reciprocate that second term. Now, actually, things don't simplify. 30 and 7 diagonally don't share a factor. They don't simplify. 6 and 7 diagonally, they don't simplify. They don't share a factor. So just be careful that you multiply by the reciprocal first, then check to see if anything simplifies, which in this case nothing does. So I end up with 30 times 6 is 180, and 7 times 7, that's 49. This one looks a little complicated, but if we round and estimate, it shouldn't be too bad. 49 is really close to 50, and 50 goes into 180 just 3 times. 50 times 3 would be 150. If I did times 4, that would be 200. That'd be too many. So 49 goes into 180 3 whole times. And I'm probably at this point going to need to do a little computation. 49 times 3 I'm going to do real quick right here. 49 times 3, 9 times 3 is 27. Carry the 2. 4 times 3 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. So 3 times 49 is 147. And then what I have to do is figure out what the remainder would be when I go up to 180. And another way of saying that would be, what is the difference between 180 and 147? That's a subtraction problem. And in order to do this, you have to regroup. You have to, this first 0 becomes 10 because you're borrowing from the 8, making it 7. 10 minus 7 is 3, and 7 minus 4 is 3. So the remainder is actually 3. That's the numerator. 3 and 33. And the denominator remains as 49. Alright, we will go ahead and skip ahead to the word problems. And I'll put these up here so we can actually read them. Numbers 28 and 29. And I'll also grab a whiteboard. And I'll put the whiteboard right here over 29. We'll move it later when we're ready to solve 29. So number 28 says, Tom made 2½ batches of cookies. He used 6 2/3 cups of flour. How much flour is used to make one batch? That is asking how much flour is per one batch of cookies, so we're going to divide by the cookies. So what that means is to take the flour, which is 6 2/3, and divide by the number of batches of cookies, which is 2½. Now this looks exactly like all the problems we've done on the entire page, which is nice because now we can use the same strategies we've used. Step 1 is to rewrite the mixed numbers as improper fractions. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 2 is 20, so it's 20/3 divided by 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so it's divided by 5 halves. First step is to write as improper fractions. The second step is to multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 5 over 2 is 2 over 5. Before I multiply here, I can check to see if anything simplifies. 20 and 5 share a factor of 5. 5 goes into itself once, and 5 goes into 20 4 times. Now I have numerators of 4 times 2, which is 8, and denominators of 3 times 1, which is 3. 8 thirds is the same as 3 goes into 8 2 whole times with 2 left over, 2 and 2 thirds. So the correct answer to number 28 is not only the number 2 and 2 thirds, but also the unit. It says how much flour, and we're talking about flour in cups. So the correct answer, I'll write it on the line, is 2 and 2 thirds cups of flour. Alright, let's check out the next one. Bring it back into view, and I will erase my writing here on my whiteboard and move the whiteboard down so we can see the problem. And I think I'll move the whole screen up so I can make sure we just focus on number 29. Alright, let's read number 29. Sonia has 3.5 yards of fabric that she wants cut into 6 pieces of the same length. How long should she cut each piece? So this is a little bit tricky. A lot of kids are going to want to take 6 and divide it by 3 1/3. The way I would think about this was you want to take the total amount of items that you have, and in this case it's 3.5, and you want to divide that into a certain number of pieces. So this one gets set up as 3 1/3 divided by 6 wholes. And the second part of this, it could be a little bit tricky, is converting them to improper fractions. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, so that first one's 10 thirds. The second one, we did this one on, I think it was number 13. The improper fraction of a whole number is just that number over 1. So this is going to be 6 over 1. And it's still a division problem, because the only thing we've done as of now is to rewrite as improper fractions. Then, after you're confident you've done that correctly, then you can multiply by the reciprocal. So 6 over 1 actually is going to be rewritten as 1 over 6. Now I can either multiply straight across, 10 times 1 and 3 times 6, or I like to simplify now. I find it to be a little bit easier. 6 and 10 share a factor of 2, so I'm going to divide 6 and 10 each by 2. I'm going to get 5 and 3. And I end up with 5 times 1 is 5, and 3 times 3 is 9. And I'm just going to reread the question and make sure I know how to write that answer. The question says, how long should she cut each piece? So the answer is 5/9, and it's going to be 5/9 of a yard because that's the unit previously used. So the correct answer is 5/9 of a yard.